So I wanted to do a more in-depth video about tone changes, but realized it's pretty unnecessary. Here's really all you need to know. Each tone has another tone that it will always change to if it's at the front of a sentence. I put which tone changes to which in the description because I don't really know what you'll gain by me saying each one out loud. What's more important is when the tone changes. And for that, there's only one rule. Here it is. The first three characters of any given sentence or phrase will change, but the last character will always retain its original tone. Now, what constitutes a sentence or a phrase is actually up for debate, but don't really worry about it. Just if you're saying something in a chunk, that's the rule. The first three characters will always change, but no matter what, the last character will continue with its original tone. And when you're writing it out in Taiwanese pinyin, you'll always write it with its original tone, even if that sentence it's in actually changes its tone. What I mean by that is this. If you've got a 5-character sentence, the first 3 characters will change tone, but the 4th and 5th characters won't. The example I'm going to use here is I am your teacher, or in Chinese that's 我是你的老师. So in Taiwanese that's 我是你的老师. So 我 is I, she is am, li is you, and a makes it possessive. So together, li is your. It's like Chinese 你的, it's that. So li is you, a makes it your, if you put those two together, and 老师 is teacher. Now notice that those first 3 characters should be 7th, 2nd, and 2nd, 7th, and 2nd tone, respectively. Sorry, so that's 2nd, 7th, 2nd tone. But I changed them to 1st, 3rd, and 1st tone because they're the 3 characters in front. So they get swapped. They use those changes. 2nd tone always becomes 1st, and 7th always becomes 3rd. Check the description for which tone becomes which because I'm not going to say them out loud. It's not useful. So again, it's supposed to be 2nd, 7th, and 2nd, but I changed it to 1st, 3rd, and 1st. And in those last 2 characters, 老师, those last 3 characters, 老师, those all remain the same. If you've got a 4-character sentence, the first 3 characters will switch tone, but the 4th character won't. The example I'm going to use is, have you eaten yet? Which is like the Taiwanese way of saying, how are you? It gets used constantly, all the time. Everybody knows it. You probably already know it if you're watching this video. So in Chinese, that would be, 你吃饭了吗? And the phrase in Taiwanese is, 你吃饱未? Li is you, jia is to eat, ba is to be full, and then bui is a negation. It's basically saying, you eat full. No. Or in Chinese, it's kind of like adding may at the end of a sentence. So it's like saying, blah, 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 sentence, 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 or not. It's asking someone a question by giving them a choice between the statement that you made and the negation of that statement. So those first 3 characters change their tone from 2nd, 8th, 2nd tone to 1st, 3rd, 1st tone, while that last character remained a 7th tone because the last character doesn't change tone ever. There was a lot of earthquakes, so what happened?
So, like, my closet just
So your closet's a mess?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think your closet's just a mess. We don't get earthquakes in Brooklyn. If you've got a 3-character sentence, the first 2 characters will switch tones, but the last one will remain the same because the last character never changes tone. The example sentence is, I want to go, which in Chinese is, 我要去. If your friend invites you to eat or to a concert or whatever, you can say this, which in Taiwanese is 我要去. 我 is I, 被 is to want. Actually more like yao if you speak Chinese, but if you don't really worry about it. Ki is to go. Those first 2 characters change tones, but there's only 3 characters in this sentence, so we went from 2, 4, 3 to 1, 8, 3, because that last character is never allowed to change. If you've got a 2-character sentence, I don't know if you can really call that a sentence at this point, but it's a phrase, it's a thing that you'd say on its own. The first character will change, but the second will not, because again, the last character never changes tone. My example is where, or more literally, what place. In Chinese you'd say 哪里, or if you're from Beijing, I guess you'd say 哪儿. but we're not. I'm not. Maybe you are. In Taiwanese, you'd say do we. So yeah, we only changed that initial second tone into a first tone, right? So when you're writing it, you write do as do, but you wouldn't say that in this context because it's at the front of the sentence. So it's do we. That seventh tone at the end is left alone because it's at the end of the phrase. So last but not least, if you're for whatever reason just firing off a single character, it retains its original tone. So my example for this is the Taiwanese word for here, which in Chinese is 这里, and in Taiwanese you'd say 家. And I've actually got a second example. My other one is the word for there, which is very useful. In Chinese you'd say 那里. In Taiwanese you'd say 呀. These are both super useful. They are kind of answers to the last one. So somebody can ask you, do we, like where? And you could say 家 or 呀, depending on where the thing is that they're asking about. So that's it. Yeah, neither of those change tones. They're both first tone, and they stay first tone because it is one character, not a part of a sentence or phrase. And again, the last character can't ever change. If there's only one character, it counts as the last character and just, it does nothing. So yeah, those are Taiwanese tone changes.